was so proud of me.
I'm Tommy Salmons. This is year 0. Today, I have the great pleasure of interviewing, chatting with, having a conversation with the great Hotep Jesus, a.k.a. Bryan Sharpe. We get started off talking a little bit about CoinBits and his ventures in tech. Then we veer into his book, talk a little bit about different conspiracy theories. That's the fucking word I was trying to think of. Conspiracy theories. And just have an all-around good talk, man. I really enjoyed talking to Hotep Jesus. He was really laid back, had a lot of fun with him. And I think this is a conversation y'all will really enjoy. And we did have some technical difficulties. My AC was out in my truck at the time, and so it got really hot in my truck, and my my computer began to get really hot and overheated. So it caused some problems with the connection for a while. So you're gonna miss about probably like 5 to 10 minutes of the conversation, but I will definitely have Bryan back on. It was a great pleasure talking to him. He was a great dude, and I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see him in October at Buck Johnson's house for the unregistered event. So that's going to be really cool to get to meet him in person. But RyanBunting.com for all of your graphic design needs. Go to RyanBunting.com. Ryan Bunting is a great graphic designer, libertarian, and anarcho-capitalist. He has designed my podcast logo and Pete Quinones' podcast logo. So, for all of your graphic design needs, go to RyanBunting.com and buy his fucking book, Project Manicore. Very good. We need more fiction in our genre, in our areas, in our thoughts. We need people that are writing fiction to attract the normies. So, give him some support. Throw him some love on Amazon under his review his book, and get him on the main stage so people can learn about our philosophy. As always, thank you, Tom Burton, for the music. And if you know anybody who's looking for an administrator, they just can't afford to take themselves away from their normal 9-to-5, the tasks that make them money to do the administration for their small business, TommySalmons@gmail.com. Beatrix has been a virtual assistant doing the administration for small businesses, political campaigns, and content creators for a few years now. And we're looking to expand her business in order for me to come home and work alongside her in this venture. So email me or have entrepreneurs email me that are looking for administrators, but they're not ready to hire a full-time administrator just yet. They need 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours a week done for them. They're not ready for that 40-hour a week thing, but they do need help and assistance in expanding their business because they can't afford to do everything and take away from the money-earning activities that they have. So, TommySalmons@gmail.com if you know anybody interested in hiring a part-time administrator. All right. I am here with Mr. Hotep Jesus, a.k.a. Bryan Sharpe. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Sitting here enjoying a nice little butter bagel.
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I had one of these nasty-ass hunks of pizza before we got on here. I was like, I need to get something in my stomach, and I ain't got time to go break out all this food that my wife made me. So I'm gonna grab me something easy right now. I'll heat this up later.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Good to be here though, man. Thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate you making the time, man. I know you're a busy guy. I have to say before we get rolling, if I don't do this, and I'll forget about it, and I'll get my ass kicked. My mom is a huge fan of yours, and she wanted me to tell you hi.
Oh, wow, damn. Tell her I said thank you. I said, what's up, man? What's up?
Yeah. I told Pete a while back, I said, man, I got a bone to pick with Hotep Jesus. He goes, what's up? I said, my mom's a fucking Hotep now, man.
Let's go. I love it. I love it.
But all right.
That's lit.
Well, I wanted to get you on here to talk about some of this, some of the tech ventures you're working on. And a buddy of mine and actually were just texting earlier about CoinBits. So let's start off with CoinBits. It's an avenue to buy cryptocurrency, but from what I understand, it's got some little kinks in there that are more advantageous than other exchanges.
Yeah, well, when you buy Bitcoin, you're subject to the fees. So no matter, how much you buy, it's always going to be just $1 fee with us. So we're going to save a lot on just fees alone. But we based upon the dollar cost average strategy. We average in, get the best price. We only sell Bitcoin. But yeah, it's just going to allow you to purchase Bitcoin automatically on a weekly basis, so you can get the best price based upon the dollar cost average strategy.
Yeah. And why do you focus only on Bitcoin? Why not other coins as well? Are they a little bit harder to get involved in?
Well, the founders believe in Bitcoin. I'd rather have them answer that question so they can give it to you straight and raw. But short-handed, they believe in Bitcoin. They're heavily invested in Bitcoin. They've been in Bitcoin very early on, and they believe it's the most sound form of cryptocurrency.
Yeah. And when you took on this venture, did you understand that the aspect, like what you were getting into right from the get-go, or was this something that just kind of evolved over time and you're like, oh shit?
No, I pretty much knew what I was getting involved in. Obviously we get educated more and more as we go along, right? So I'm continuing to learn about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And it's, the knowledge is so vast, right? And there's so many different arguments and debates happening around Bitcoin. So there's always an opportunity to learn more. So I'm always learning. But, I made a good bag in 2017. So, and I called the crash. So, I came from a very traditional investing world. So Bitcoin, when I saw, it was like 10x my account, I'm like, yeah, I did a good job on this. I didn't need the 100x or anything like that. But yeah, I would say I was more concerned with the investing portion more than the tech. And over the years, I've gotten more interested in understanding how the tech works.
Yeah. Well, that's what I found so interesting about listening to you and the way that you approach things is you're always talking about building your own, like doing your own shit, getting out there, doing it yourself. And I have like really the more agrarian kind of agorist mindset to where I want to work in the yard. I want to be growing my own vegetables. I want to be raising chickens and goats and shit like that. And so when I see you doing this with technology and inspiring and motivating and pushing other people to follow that kind of mindset, I really appreciate that about you, because you have this large reaching, influence, whether you realize it or not. A lot of people listen to you and they look at you for wisdom and things like that. And I think the way you've approached technology, at least since I've run into you over the last year, has been really, really inspirational and really made me want to learn more about what's going on in technology.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Human civilization evolves due to technology, from the wheel to the iPhone. Mm-hmm. Technology is here to assist us. And I think that whoever controls the technology controls evolution. And I want to empower people. I want to inspire people to empower themselves. And when I look at a lot of the problems in the world today, a lot of people complain about the problems, but my question always comes back to, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because you can complain all day. And I know there's some people who are paid to keep the problems at the forefront, and they make money off of doing that. We call them grifters. But I just feel bad for their following who's caught up in the problems but not thinking about the solutions. And when I look at all the problems in the world, the one thing I come back to is cash rules everything around me. So how do I get cash so I can start to make some influence in the world and inspire people and invest in the projects that I think are going to be healthy for people?
Right. Yeah, and there's obviously, this, we hear it all the time whenever, you start talking about like big tech censorship or some of these things that are going on with technology, the NSA spying apparatus and things of that. People are always, well, build your own, opt out of this, build your own. And so when you run into somebody like you that's building their own, you're like, oh shit, you can't actually build your own. like it's not like impossible to do, So
yeah.
When did you really get interested in the technology?
Well, I grew up around tech. I mean, going back to, 1998, I was building websites. I built an e-commerce website for this dude that was selling coins. I was always into tech. My brother was a computer engineer. My father was an electrical engineer. My dad, he always bought the latest stuff. When TVs came out, he had a TV in his car. When the CD burner came out, we had a CD burner. He was always just upgrading the computer to, whatever the latest was. So I grew up around that, and I was like de facto help desk for him and his friends and family. So they'd call me up and I'd be help desk for Windows problems, so on and so forth. I was building computers, repairing computers, self-taught. I just read the IBM manual. If it was an IBM computer, read the error codes and then swap out parts with whatever needed. So, I've always been around tech, but and even like, no matter, like, I remember one time I was working with the Department of Public Works, and I ended up getting a contract job because they had some computer problems, and everybody there knew I had computer knowledge. When I was a mortgage broker, I was the de facto help desk at this company, and they loved that because anytime they had a computer problem, hey, Bryan, we're having problems. And I just come over, I take a look at it, and it'd be done in like 2 seconds or 15 minutes or whatever. So, I've always been in that world. And I thought I wanted to be in IT because I had that skill set. So I tried. And then what's funny is 9/11, I was supposed to get a job in New York City. I ended up not getting that job. And then 9/11 happened right after. So it was a godsend and I didn't get that job. But I never did get into IT. I had one IT job with L'Oreal. That was pretty cool. But I never enjoyed it. I thought it was really boring. But then later on in my life, I saw this mobile app technology becoming really big, especially with Apple and the Google phones. And I was working on mostly consumer packaged goods, wine and spirits, energy drinks, food and beverage, even health supplements. So I was marketing all these type of goods, but the process was too long, and I wanted something faster. I wanted something more profitable. So your connection breaking up, or is that me? So yeah, I wanted to do something a lot more profitable and fun and faster. So I started talking to investors and celebrities about the mobile app space, and nobody really got it. Nobody was really excited about it. So I ventured out and tried to find those people in that world, and I immersed myself in it. So like the past decade, I've just been in the mobile app space.
So what are some of the apps or some of the tech that you're working on right now that's going to help some people like advance their personal liberty moving forward?
Well, we got the CoinBits.app, investing app. I always tell people, I say, if you bank half your pay and wait 10 years, and when I say bank, I mean invest, you could be really well off in 10 years. You got to pay yourself before you pay everybody else. So I think CoinBits app is definitely a good tool for people, especially 10 years down the line, whatever Bitcoin might be at that time. A lot of people do really well. Then we have the Kron app, the Kron suite. And that's a suite of productivity apps. The main app right now is a calendar, help you organize your events, so on and so forth. Jivitize app helps content creators. And then we have the AI. And AI is good to optimize. There are security capabilities to our AI, basically analyze anything that goes in front of the camera. So we do have facial recognition technology, so on and so forth. But the way we're using it right now is to optimize the retail space to bring profitability to brick and mortar establishments.
So when with the calendar app, like what makes it like different from other calendar apps that are out there?
You're a bit breaking up, but I think I heard you say what makes it different. And really, it is the data visualization. How you view your calendar is completely different. They won an award from Apple for design. And we take the information and we put it on the arc, your health data, your photos, your music data, and your calendar events. And we put that on this thing we call the arc. You really have to see it to believe it. But if you think of the rings of Saturn, for example, your data would exist and revolve around your world. And it's basically the way we visualize the data.
I get so damn. Test.
Yep. Sound clear? I hear you.
All right. I don't know what happened. It Zoom kicked my damn mixer out of the conversation. So I was like, So I was trying to get my mic back online.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that happened. I have no idea. Turn my video off just in case that's interfering with the signal.
Okay.
Okay. So we was talking about the calendar app. So you were saying it's like rings within rings. So what I was asking is, what is it? Is it an attempt for people to be able to centralize the most important part of their life and then work out from there? Is that what the rings are for?
That's a good way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it, actually. I might steal that.
No, that's fine. Yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, wow, because like I'm thinking of like when you, I don't know if you're familiar with Cecil Rhodes, but he had talked about the rings of power, being a small group, which was the inner ring, and then a larger group. So he's like, it's more like rings within rings instead of a pyramid. And so when you brought that up, I was like, yeah, you could micromanage like what's most pertinent, what you most need to accomplish, and then work your way out from there by meaning of importance.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like that would be good for someone like me who gets all scatterbrained.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely help you organize your life and events. It's an app for busy people. People who need to organize your life. That's exactly what it's for.
And where do you find that app?
App Store, Apple App Store.
And it's just called Calendar?
No, it's called Kron.
Kron?
Kron, yeah, Kron. Kron, okay. Or you go to Kronarc, KRONARC.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's cool. That's something I'm definitely going to check out. I'll put it on my phone. I'll probably use the hell out of that.
Yeah, it's a very useful app. I would definitely recommend it for people.
Well, it'll give me the opportunity to watch my current job go from the inner circle all the way to the outer circle, which would be the ultimate goal, to get it out of the circles.
Indeed.
Yeah, I hate being gone from the wife all the time, so.
No. What you mean?
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So when you're looking at what's going on in the world around us, and in the way that the medical tyranny came down last year, and just the entire political process, which I love watching y'all listen to y'all make fun of like the entire political process. That's the best part of Hotep's Been Told You, is when y'all are just making fun of all the politicians. I'm just dying. So, but when you're looking at this, how do you envision the technology helping you opt out of all this?
Money. Mostly money. I mean, let's just take it to a very micro level. You got a guy with no money who's got to stand before the judge, and you got a guy who's got money for the elite attorney. You know, who do you think is going to get off? Obviously, the guy with the elite attorney. When you look at politics in America, you know, for example, to run in some of these primaries and whatnot, they literally tell you have to raise a certain amount of money. So all this stuff comes back to money. So for me, it's not only about the tech that can help people reach their goals, but it's also about accumulating wealth. And that's what people don't understand, you know, like wealth has been on this planet for over 10,000 years. To assume it's going to go away is quite naive, I believe, especially to believe that it'll go away in our lifetime. So for me, it's about living above the system.
Yeah. And I can see that. For me, you know, like I told you before, I'm more of a agorist, so I'm like, let's see how can I get opposite, like outside of the system. I want to live kind of parallel to it, you know, kind of let it do its thing over there, and I'm over here doing my thing. I leave it alone, it leaves me alone, and you know, we only intermingle when we absolutely have to. And hopefully those are on good terms and not bad terms for my sake. But you seem to have like a very similar style to like maybe Jason Stapleton, as far as like your mindset. You're like, if you want to be free, you need more money, you need more wealth, power, and influence in order to live free. Whereas I come from I don't know, maybe it's just a simpleton kind of mindset for me, but I look at it and I'm like, look, I don't really care if I'm wealthy. I want to be comfortable, but I don't really care about money. I just want to be left alone. So how do I create that lifestyle for myself to where I can be left alone?
Yeah, I totally get that, and I support that too. I have some of those aspirations as well. I see money as a tool to get there, because I would like to build some sort of infrastructure for my own citadel, if you will. But yeah, you know, it's for me, it's not about the money. It's about what we can do with it.
Right. It's a tool. It's a tool to reach an ultimate destination.
Yeah. Yeah. And to help people, to really like help people, you know, like Jay-Z says, you can't help the poor if you're one of them.
Yeah.
So to me, I gave back. That's a win-win.
Right.
You know, and I look at even where I'm at now. I'm the cousin, uncle, friend who people call on, and I'm able to support them when they need that. You know, a friend calls me up. He's, you know, dad just died and kind of going through it, and he needed a couple of dollars, and I was in a position to help him. You know, that for me, that makes me feel good, knowing that I was able to get myself to a place in society where when my friends needed me, I could help. It sucks when your friends call you, because I've been there too. Your friends call you, they need a little help, and you're like, yo, I don't got it. Like, you got it, but it's just like, you don't got it. Yeah. It's like it's in the bank account, but it's like, I don't know if I can take it out because I might not be able to afford it. You know, I'm like maybe one disaster away from poverty. So you're like, I can't give it to you, bro. I want to, but, or you're like, when am I gonna get it back? Like, I need it back. And you don't want to be in those situations. But when you're in a situation where somebody's like, I need to borrow some money, and you're like, here, just take it. I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the cool things about you and the way you approach this is the average person listening to Bryan Sharpe, aka Hotep Jesus, can sit there and relate to you because you've been in the shoes of the person that maybe didn't have it, and you figured out ways to get out of that situation. So when you're telling them, you just need to build your own, you're doing it. You're leading by example. It's not just lip service. So it means a lot more when it's coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it happened as a requirement and not even a choice. Unfortunately, I was going from job to job, startup to startup, doing marketing for tech companies. And it just became so frustrating to a point where it was just like, I couldn't do it anymore for my mental health. I just was running into so many terrible situations and I felt so helpless. And I realized that the only place that I had control and power was on my own. And, I was looking at the companies and I was looking at myself and I'm like, I'm technically more successful online than this company. So like, why am I even working for them if they won't even listen to me? So it was just like, focus on yourself, as Nerd at the Cool Table would put it. So I just started focusing on building my own business instead of trying to build other people's businesses. And then once I got to the point where my business was popping, then I circled back and said, well, if I'm going to be involved in somebody's business, I want to be on the cap table. I don't want to be a salary employee who's just, taking orders from somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. I want somebody to bring me on the team because they trust my experience and want my expertise. So, I had to leave the job situation out of a necessity.
Yeah. Well, and, I know, I'm looking at some different avenues and the next moves I'm going to be making here over the next few months. And, I know how it feels to be staring into the abyss going, I want to be free. I want to be free of the life that I've been living. I want to get, be home with my wife. I want to be, providing for my family with my own intelligence, my own will, and not depending on other people. And still, 18 years into driving a truck, it's like, man, as tired as I am of this, it's been good to me. I don't know if I should just up and run away, So there's that internal struggle of how am I going to make these next steps, and how am I going to make these next steps work, and that uncertainty as to if it will work and how it's going to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so whenever you run into those obstacles, and I'm sure still to this day you have some of those moments, how do you approach those times?
The times of hardship?
The times of uncertainty. The times where you're sitting there with a fork in the road and you're like, I could go this way or I could go this way. Now this way seems like it'd be the easiest way to go. But that way, as hard as it would be, if it worked out, I would love it a lot more. Like, how do you mentally prepare yourself to do that?
I think the problem is some people think too short term and not long term. I'm a long term thinker. I think like if I make this move, how am I going to be affected 5-10 years down the line, as opposed to, here's a quick hit or a quick win. And then smoke some weed, man.
Okay. Well, yeah, I probably need to do that. How much weed? No, I'm playing. How many gummies do you eat?
I actually quit smoking weed last year sometime, I believe. So now I'm more like a social smoker. Like if I'm hanging out with some friends and they got some bud, I'll smoke. But like back in the day, man, like weed, it was bad for me and it was good for me at the same time, because those times where it's just like, you just want to kill yourself. Like, you go to a friend's house, you just smoke a blunt and like life just seems better all of a sudden, So it's like this unhealthy, healthy thing. But I've also used it to empower me. You have those times where you need that brilliant idea. Sometimes I just sit down, blow a J in the air and really contemplate, like, how can we get creative? How can we make, what move can we make to really move life forward? But I think the thing is, sometimes you got to trust the process, trust whatever it is you're doing. Like, for example, you got the podcast that you're working on now. Some people, they might see a year down the line, it's not growing like they want it to. And they might not even doing any checks and balances and just quit. I think it's important before you quit something, do some checks and balances. When we first started out, Hotep's been told you, it was terrible. We didn't have microphones. It was the cameras were terrible. We were doing it on the phone. It was just like really bad. So you always have to do some checks and balances and say, before I quit this thing, did I give it my full effort? Did I invest in it? Did I continue to get better? And if you didn't do that, then maybe it's not time to quit because you didn't try to make whatever you had better, right? So Hotep's been told you it was about, people complaining. They were saying, yo, the sound's terrible. All right, let me get some mics. So we got the mics. I didn't know anything about podcasting. I didn't care. I just wanted to talk to the people. And then it was just like, oh, well, let's get a camera, right? And then after that, it's like, all right, well, I see somebody on Twitch with like these cool graphics. How's that done? And so, we upgrade the graphics. And then somebody's like, oh, we don't like those graphics because, it doesn't show enough of the screen on your face or something like that. All right, we'll upgrade it again, right? So it's just like you always want to just audit yourself and say, how am I getting better? How am I optimizing whatever it is that I'm doing? And you trust the process that it'll grow and be consistent.
Yeah.
But sometimes we might let family members and friends discourage us, and that type of stuff has to be ignored.
Absolutely. One of the things I ran into is I started my podcast in 2018. And I worked through lots of fucking gremlins last year, lots of sound issues, quality issues, trying different things, trying to record different ways. And, but the one thing that almost had me quit is before the dog that rides with me now, I had another dog that rode with me for 3 years, and he got hit by a car. And I was like, oof. I mean, I was devastated for a long time, and I almost quit over that because I was like, I couldn't focus. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just like, whatever, just leave me alone. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. But, luckily, yeah, I stuck with it. I feel like I've gotten better. I feel like the show's gotten better. I've gotten a lot more comfortable in reaching out to better guests like yourself, and just having these conversations in a way that maybe can help somebody,
Yeah. Hell yeah. You just got to trust yourself, got to trust the process and keep moving forward.
Yeah. And it absolutely is not. And I think that's important for, those of us that do have the microphone that are putting ourselves out there, that are getting listeners, that we do talk about, hey, yeah, we've had these struggles. We've gone through, bouts of depression or, anxiety or whatever, we've gone through in our lives. And yeah, we're building these things and we're trying to help y'all come up with solutions, for your own lives, but we've had to come up with some of these solutions for our lives as well.
Yeah. I always say to people, man, I say having a microphone is going to be, imperative in the future, because especially with the censorship and so on and so forth, you might not have a voice. And I think that doing the podcast and the streaming thing is very important to assure that going forward, you do have a voice, you do have an opinion. That's the new vote, is speaking to other people and providing your perspective, because there's people out there who think like you that are looking and wondering, and sometimes they feel alone. They feel as though, hey, am I the only one that thinks like this? And then they run into your podcast and you're like, wait, there's more people out there like this. And it starts creating that sub community.
Right.
So the microphone is super important, man.
So I know you're working on a new book. Are you talking about it on podcast yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, it's finished now. I just have to edit it. I'm waiting on Rollo Tomasi to finish up the cover, and then it'll be out within the next maybe 2 weeks.
Awesome. So what's the book about?
Let's see how I can say this without any spoilers. It's a book on, U.S. History and Conspiracies.
Ooh.
Yeah. It starts out in 16th century Europe and then ends at World War II. It's going to be a 3-volume series. The next series is going to be on socialism and communism. And then the last one's going to be on race, specifically black and white relations. But in this book, I just provide evidence and proof and truth for people to investigate and question things. So you'll see me cite many sources. You'll see me quote many primary sources. You'll see case law, Supreme Court case law. You'll see congressional record. I just wanted to put the information out there in a way that would be hard to refute, because the evidence was so hard. The evidence was just so concrete that somebody can't say, "Oh, this is conspiracy theory." No, this is conspiracy fact. Congress talked about this,
Yeah.
So you can't say it's, some Alex Jones spooky stuff. No, this was in the congressional record. This is what your congressman said.
Right. Yeah. No, I hate anytime you bring up, any kind of crazy off the wall shit the government's been involved in, whether it's the Tuskegee experiments or MK Ultra or, Operation Mockingbird, or, the fact that there was an attempted coup by fascists within the government during the Roosevelt administration. Any of these things you bring up. These things you bring up, people are like, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." You're like, "No, man, I can show you the shit. I can show you evidence that all this stuff happened."
That was a military general. I was going to include that in my book, and I decided not to.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, just mostly because of time.
Yeah.
But when I ran across that piece of information, I'm like, "Oh, I should include this in the book." But because of time, it didn't fit the premise of the book, because the premise of the book is very specific to what I'm trying to talk about, and it felt more like a segue. But yeah, that fascist plot to take over the White House is a very interesting story. But also because of time, I really wanted to dive into it. And there's like a 300, 400 page book on it that I really want to sit down and read before I even include it in a book. I like to do thorough research. And because of time, I just wouldn't have time to, but also it didn't make sense to include it in my book because of the angle I was taking and the type of evidence I was providing. But the amount of evidence I provided was just significant, was sufficient. But yeah, that plot to take over the White House, I think the name of the book is called The Plot to Seize the White House.
Yeah, I think I have the audio book. It's probably one of the ones I haven't listened to yet. But I ran into the story years ago, and I was like, "What?" And they had a link to a YouTube video of Smedley Butler, the guy who came forward and stopped the whole thing. And there's a YouTube video of Smedley Butler talking like, "Yes, this happened," and yada yada yada. It's insane. You're like, "Hold up, wait. They didn't teach us about that shit."
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you teach us about that shit?
Yeah. In fact, I might mention it in an introduction. You just gave me a good angle to include it. I might, because I was writing the introduction today, and I thought the introduction was complete. But now you mentioned that, I might throw that in there because it fits the premise of my introduction.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
I like the fact that I can contribute.
Yeah, you've given me a lot already.
I'm gonna have to start charging for this shit.
I ain't got it.
Look, I don't know you like that, bro.
What's up? Yeah, man.
Oh shit. So there ain't no nuggets out of there that you want to drop that you discovered maybe you didn't know before, that maybe you informed somebody? Nah.
I mean, the book is there's a lot in there. I crammed a lot within 200 something pages. Yeah. I crammed a lot within 200 something pages. I mean, we're talking about going through the history of money in Europe. Then we talk about the history of money and banking in the United States. And then we get into World War I and World War II and how money relates into all of that stuff. And it's just like, you know, if I was to start dropping gems, like this podcast wouldn't end.
I bet you read Tragedy and Hope.
Let's see. Carol Quigley.
Carol Quigley.
Carol Quigley. I got a copy of that right here, as you can see.
Yep.
When the video drops, you'll see. Yeah, I got a copy of that. That's mandatory reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep that one by my desk.
Have you?
I quoted a little bit from that.
Oh, I was just messing around. Have you read any of this stuff on this Great Reset?
No. I'm familiar with it. Event 201, the Great Reset, New World Order. Yeah. Yeah.
I got the book for you, man, because you're into tech.
Okay.
It's called Shaping the Future of the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that book before.
This book, it lines out, I call it a technological Mein Kampf, because it lines out the first couple of chapters. It's like, these are the concerns we have. This is how we're going to utilize our morals and our values in order to shape technology going forward. And then that's like the last 2/3 of the book. They're covering different technologies, bioengineering, all kinds of shit, man. Like affecting the weather patterns, blockchain technology, AI, and how they plan on maturing and shaping this technology to basically force people into their ideal of morality and to live and to create and shape the world that they want to create and shape. So it's like you were saying earlier, like whoever controls the technology controls the future.
Yes, indeed.
And so they've written what I think it's about. I have it back in the back of the truck. I think it's like 350 pages, and it's just the plot to run the world, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I'm gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah, you being a tech guy, I think you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, it sounds like something I need. Oh, I got it saved right here on my notes. It's in my bookmark, so I'll probably pick that up. I just bought like 7 books last month, and so I'm probably gonna have to add this to the library as well.
Yeah, it's a good book. Yeah, I've read it a few times because I was because you read it the first time and it's like, man, they couldn't have really said that. No, that's I must have misread that. Like I didn't understand this correctly. You know, like there's a sentence in there I can't get it out of my head because there's a sentence and it's the first sentence under education. And it says, not only do we have to control and develop technology moving forward, but we have to control and develop humans as they move forward. And the first thing, all I can think of is John Taylor Gatto. He warned us. He was telling us about this shit, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah. So, well, all right, man. I gotta get back on the road. I hate that we had the tech problems that we had.
It's all good.
But
we had a great conversation.
We did. We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah, let me know, man. I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. We'll I'll definitely after your book comes out and I read it, and I'll be like, all right, now we got receipts here, motherfucker.
A lot of receipts. A lot of receipts coming.
That's badass, dude. I'm excited about that. You know, give me something to read until Thad's book comes out.
Yeah.
He's only been promising us that book for what, 10 years now?
Which one's that?
He's writing a book on like the wars of the 20th century. I mean, it's got to be. Oh, it's got to be some monster of a task to overcome.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah. So I mean, between Scott's book, Enough Already, and then Thad's book, jeez. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, I can't read about war again ever in my life.
Oh man,
never again.
Yeah, I did World War I, World War II, and I was just like, I'm tired of this shit. And I only did the 2 major wars, so I can imagine if he's doing all the wars. Jeez.
Hey, you know, have you read the book The War State?
Nah, what's that one?
It's about the Cold War.
Okay.
And it was really good. I think the guy's name is Swanson.
Yeah, Michael Swanson.
Michael Swanson, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
I'll have to check that one out too. About to add it to my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know all this.
You can't go wrong getting book recommendations from Scott Horton.
Okay.
Yeah. You want anything on war or foreign policy, like just message Scott. He'll send you like, I asked him one time, I was like, hey man, what's a good book on this subject? And I think it was like for the next like 30 minutes, I was getting like texts of like 5 or 6 books at a time. He's like, oh yeah, you can't forget this one. You can't forget this. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. I don't think I have enough life left in my body to read all this shit.
Oh man. Yeah. So much information out here.
Man, there is, man. There is. But all right, man, let's plug whatever you got to plug, Bubba.
Yes, sir. HotepJesus.com. Go ahead and purchase Dominate Twitter. It's my book on marketing, and which you can use on any social media platform, actually. And go ahead and get a copy of The Unbreakable Rules for Masculinity, and get on my email list for all my upcoming releases in regards to history.
Hell yeah. All right, man. And I'll put links in the show notes and all that good jazz.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let me stop this recording.
So much of the focus of my podcast is to point out abuses of power and how bad things have gotten and the direction in which we're heading as a society. And it can be a real black pill. I've partnered up with Richard Grove to offer my listeners an opportunity to sign up to his Autonomy Course. The Autonomy Course is designed for people looking for solutions, people that want to shape their own future, people that are not willing to be at the behest of large corporations or the United States government or the banking system. The Autonomy Course is designed for those of you who wish to have complete control of the reins of your life, who are looking to be successful, that to thrive and not just survive, to provide for your family by utilizing your existing skills and learning how to market and sell those skills in order to be your own boss, or learn new skills in order to leverage that into a new career opportunity. So if there's a job out there you've been trying to get or you've been wishing you could get, but you just don't have the skills for it, the Autonomy Course is the place for you to start, to learn how to land that position, to learn how to market yourself better, to gain confidence, and to be surrounded by a community of like-minded people that will encourage you and help you along the way. So use my affiliate links and go check out the Autonomy Course. It could be right for you.
Game of pick and choose. Well, it's a game that was made for you to lose. It doesn't really matter how many times. It's the same old worn out stories, same old lines. They're all pointing dirty fingers in hypocrisy, bragging on their feats of mediocrity again. Never really making any kind of change, but they keep on getting re-elected, and I find that strange. And that's why I say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that have taken our freedoms. Yeah, I said fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that have taken our freedoms. What's it gonna take for you to see that we're living in a rigged democracy? People stand in line for these ways that they've been choosing, paying no attention to the rights they keep on losing. But they all gather in the rallies and they chant their names, on goddamn well that it's all gonna be the same. Just 4 more years of war and taxes, 4 more years of them grinding down their axes. And that's why I say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedoms. Yeah, fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedoms. Cause we don't even need them, we'll never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedom. Fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them, we'll never celebrate the tyrants that are taking